so you finally did call after the thousands and thousands of videos I put up there for the free inspection, and you had me come to the house. Now what? What am I going to do? I'm going to walk you through a simple inspection of what I'm going to look for right away when I come to your house, regardless of what you've got going on. And all of the things I'm going to touch base on, we actually have a downloadable link on our website for a homeowner's checklist. So you can kind of do this before I even show up, just to keep me on point and make sure I'm doing what I say I will. I'm going to get out of the truck and I'm going to come over and say hi. I'm going to try to make some jokes to make you laugh, so that hopefully this is going to be more fun, because the truth of the matter is nothing I do is serious. We want to look at the house, but not the way you do. You look at your house, you go, oh, look at this. It's a big colonial or a big garrison or a big cape. I pull up and I go, oh, it's got 6 dormers, the ridge vents lifting up. They didn't paint it yet. The gable vents are torn up. The siding's coming off. So I'm looking at your house totally from a structural standpoint. We're going to start a walk around. I'm going to start high, and I'm going to point out things like the peak of your roof, where your ridge vent sits. Tell you the type of material it is. If it's cobra vent, which as a wildlife control operator, I like for my customers, but I don't like for business, because things aren't coming through it, so I'm not going to make any money off you that way. If it's got core vent or that sectional plastic stuff that they put up there for some reason, now I'm going to make some money on you, because if it's starting to lift, you'll see the links to the videos where the bats, the squirrels, the mice, they all crawl right under that, or they crawl in through the ends. Or if it's the wrong pitch and the nails they used are wrong and it's starting to lift, what you've got under that is you've got your roof line coming up and it doesn't touch, it sits back, because we want air to flow up and leave to come out that ridge cap. Well, that ridge cap gets put on, and if it's not put on properly, they now have a gap about 7 inches wide at the top of your roof, the whole length of your roof, that these animals can get in. So we have to address that. Next, I'm going to move on and I'm going to look to see if you have dormers, and where your dormer roof meets the main roof, the gap's going to be there, because they want to keep the wood short from touching. The reason for that is not because your builder did a bad job, but if you're using wood instead of AZEK, which is plastic, the wood can work moisture. So when the rain's pouring down or the snow's sitting there, if that wood is touching those shingles, all it's doing is absorbing moisture, which is going to create a rot situation. Horrible. But it still creates a gap, because if you have a 1/4 inch gap through the length of a soffit, bats can go through there, flying squirrels can chew it enough to make a circle to get in, mice can get in there, so we have to address that. Once we've walked around and looked at things like that, like the ends where the roof gable vents are, or the screens, we're not sure, check for chewing. We're looking at the end soffit box, which is the overhang of your roof where the air goes up. If there's brown staining there, people think, oh, something up there's rusting, there's rusty material. There's nothing in there but wood and our vinyl around the edges. There's nothing that should be rusting. If you've got brown molasses staining coming out of those are latrine areas for flying squirrels. Flying squirrels are kind of weird like that. They will go wherever, but they kind of like to have a bathroom area, and they will continue to go in that spot, and over time it's just brown wet molasses dripping down. We've seen it where it's covered the whole backside of customers' houses before. We had over 60 flying squirrels in that house, but not the typical, but it is something that happens often. We've got pictures of that too. Your corners, if you have a vinyl house, the soffit corners, if you look, you'll see sometimes that they've dripped, they've sagged down, because those aren't nailed on, it's just kind of compression sitting there. And the gap at the top will open up, which allows animals to get in and in your soffit box. So I'm going to try to physically lift those and see if they slide up. If they slide up, great, we can put them up and then put a bead of silicone around the top of that. You also want to check the corners, because if it's not an insulated soffit corner, mice can run those corners, and squirrels too, but mostly mice. There's not a lot of ground squirrels that will do it. They'll run all the way up and they'll get up inside there and they'll chew a hole to get into your attic. From your attic, they can go everywhere. So we're going to look at things like that. We're going to look at your bulkhead area. Is there a door in your basement, or is the bulkhead the last line of defense for these animals? Because mice and squirrels love to go through bulkheads, especially after the wind has grabbed it a couple times and hyperextended the hinges. It never shuts correctly anymore. Especially if it's the lighter ones. The heavy steel ones are still pretty decent. Inside your garage, wiring from the garage into the house. We just did a customer's house where 5 of the holes were, the white wires were black from mouse staining, where the mice were getting in the garage and then entering the home through the garage, right down into the basement area. If it's an attached garage, is the wall between the garage and the breezeway finished, or is it open? Because if they can get in that breezeway, then they can get in your house as well. You see what I mean when I say it doesn't matter to me if you have a colonial, a ranch, a modular, a $1,000,000 house. I don't care. And I don't care really, honestly, if you have mice or elephants in your house. Our job is to get them out, to show you how they're getting in, and then to prevent it from happening again. So that's what's going to happen when you call me. I'll probably joke the whole way through it like I tried to. And have a good day.